All right. So Helldivers 2, right? It's a ton of fun. And I mean a absolute blast, especially if you get 2, 3 of your, close friends in there to play. We've found out that there's been issues with the game because they weren't expecting as much of a fan base, I guess you could say, or people purchasing said game to actually play it. And I mean, like I said, it's a ton of fun. I never even heard about this game until the day it launched. Buddy of mine was like, bro, it's $40, just buy it. I said, all right, fine. So, we're going to talk about this article I found from PC Gamer talking about Helldivers 2 and some things they're doing or attempting to do moving forward. So first things first, Helldivers 2 players are staying logged in overnight to dodge queue times and clog servers. Arrowhead CEO agrees that AFK timeout is due. Okay. Now, I will admit, the initial weekend, the initial launch weekend of this game, I had, 10, 15 hours logged. There was minimal wait times, and on top of that, I only got bumped out twice. This past weekend when I played, the amount of errors when it came to bumping people out, the queue times, the games dropped. And then on top of that, the ability to purchase upgrades for your weapons, for everything. It was just, it was a headache. It was a headache. Like, there was just so many issues with it. So I'm wondering if it's due to this right here. So let's keep on going. Helldivers 2 is good. Like, really good. I agree. But that comes with a cost. Hundreds of thousands of players piling into unexpected co-op shooter darlings. Servers have been buckling under the sheer weight of massive deployment. Like I said, I don't think that they were thinking that this game would be this big. Because I looked into Helldivers 1 because I had never even heard of Helldivers. I didn't even know there was a first one. So I looked into the first one, and it's kind of like a top-down tower defense shooter. So it's nothing like Helldivers 2. While I've been able to play myself, I haven't been able to matchmake publicly for around 4 days. I've played with friends instead or used the game's Discord server to group up with randos via the in-game friends list. And the evening signing on has been completely touch and go, which I completely agree. I will admit, like I said, this past weekend when I did play, it was during potentially peak hours. So I hated it because it would like drop you into like basically a queue time, and then it would count down from like 90 seconds and then drop you into the queue again. I've seen 90 seconds and I've seen as much as 300 seconds. So there's a lot of wait time here. It's pretty crazy. Now, as noted, the game subreddit, it looks like players are staying logged in to dodge the queue times, taking advantage of a lack of an AFK bouncer to show them the door. This might imagine will only make things worse in a game that with locked server capacity. I'm surprised that since this is a PlayStation game, and PlayStation, I think it was PlayStation Studios, helped really do this stuff with Arrowhead, that they have not gone in and tried to like bolster everything with the resources that PlayStation does have at their, at the tips of their fingers. Instead, they're just resting everything on Arrowhead Studios, which I kind of think is unfair. I decided to flick through the Discord myself, and sure enough, there's plenty of people admitting to clogging the drain and ramping up their energy bills. Though this being the internet, I wouldn't be surprised if a good portion of said heels aren't just trolls trolling a bug-starved player base for kicks. Now, I will admit, the PvE with the bugs is way more fun than the PvE versus the androids. Because let me tell you, them androids are hard, bro. They're hard. Let's keep on going. Fortunately, a fix could already be on the way. Responding to an upset player on Twitter, thanks Game Radar, developer Arrowhead Studios CEO John says he's mentioned it to the team. Servers are complicated machines, though, so it's probably not a case of Arrowhead flipping a big cartoon timeout switch somewhere. Which, I mean, it would be pretty funny if they would just like click and like they just turn the switch on. But I completely agree. There's probably some kind of script they have to write, and it kind of worries me because There was a hot fix this past weekend that made the game worse, so we'll see. Later remarked with plenty of sarcasm to a fan telling him to stop tweeting and fix the wait times, writing, "Yes, good idea. I will sit behind the engineers and ask them, are we there yet? Or I can let the engineers work independently towards our common goal without me as the CEO pestering them at every moment. I wonder which one will work best." I wish there was more CEOs like this. Like, yo, this is what I want. Get it done. And the other thing that's really refreshing when it comes to this Arrowhead studio for Helldivers 2 is that they're very transparent and they communicate a lot actually with the fan base and with the people that are purchasing said game. And you don't see that a lot. You don't. It is crazy to me to see an actual CEO of a game development company actually communicating and letting them know, hey, we're working on this. These are plans that we have moving forward. I do understand that frustration of not getting to play a game you paid for, as much as I understand the frustration of being told to do something about it when you are actively are. Even if the service squatters are being jerks, players are going to exploit a queue dodge as surely as electricity follows the path of least resistance. Facts. I'm reminded of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker's launch, which was also a hotcake success that Square Enix not only had to add AFK timers, it had to stop people from buying the game altogether. I do remember that because Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker kept getting advertised on Steam, and I'm like, well, let me check out the launch trailer. And I would click on it, and I'd be like, how much is this anyways? Scroll down, and it's like, unable to purchase. Or sometimes on Steam, you'll see you're number 25 in the queue to purchase that game. To kind of, cut down on the amount of people and the amount of buy. It's insane. However, the assumption that Arrowhead is simply resting on its laurels is downright silly, especially given the open channels of communication so far. Like I said, you don't ever see CEOs of corporations that develop games actually speak to the public like this guy is. It'd be nice if an AFK timer was worked in at launch, but that would have been some considerable development time devoted to a feature that's only worth it if you know your game's going to sell gangbusters. Hindsight it is, after all, 2020. All right, let's go big screen. So, like I said, Helldivers is just one of those games. It's kind of like Palworld. People kind of figured Palworld would be successful, but Helldivers 2, considering how different it is than the first one, who would have thought that this game was like, hey, we're going to sell like that? I think that it's a very fun game. It's a very difficult game, and I would like to see more people check it out. And like I said, very refreshing to have a CEO of a company that's like communicating and discussing what he has plans moving forward when, who would have thought this game would be this successful? It's a great game. I'm just kind of disappointed that PlayStation, which I believe is the distributor, I think is what their part of this game isn't stepping in to attempt to help Arrowhead more with these server issues, because I'm sure Sony has way more capabilities of getting stuff done, and potentially here's some more engineers that could potentially help the studio. Now, I'm not a coder, I don't develop games, I don't know stuff like that, so it might be one of those things where it's like more hands in the cookie jar, or it's not good. But tell me down below, what do you think about Helldivers? Do you like the game so far, or do you hate it? Are you planning on buying it? Let me know. Anyways, you guys, don't forget to mash that like button, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit does help out the channel. We're on our way to 8,000 subscribers, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later.